Hey everyone! I've decided to start posting art vlogs to my channel. Usually, I don't post until like a couple weeks when I get my videos done, but I like to update everybody more often when I don't have a regular video. So let me show you what I have going on for this week. I actually have two sketchbooks that I use now. Normally, I usually only had one, and I was actually like painting watercolors on there on the regular sketchbook, but that wasn't working out too well because the paper wasn't made for watercolor. So let me show you my regular sketchbook first. Okay, so here we go. And these are mostly for my D&D journal, my session reports that I've been doing recently. There we go. This one is of Stormy on top of an ogre. This is of a like a little labyrinth, almost like an old school 8-bit video game. Is one of our characters, Namo the gnome, trying to find the center of the maze. And these are all done in ink brush, by the way. Here's the captives in a dungeon. And for this, I did most of these last week. And for these, you'll notice that I've been doing I've been practicing on hands. You'll see a lot of hands on this sketchbook. These are the pair of characters that are stuck in a room, a magical room, when the door disappeared. So they were trying to find a door. So it looks like they were miming. This is of Yusuf, my character, using his lockpicks. This is another scene of a bunch of the characters. You see the difference in hand size. This is the gnome playing rock paper scissors to see who would go down a dark tunnel, rappel down a dark tunnel. Here's one of the characters putting his staff through a magic portal. A similar one going through with a rope going through the magic portal. And this was a mixture of brush pen and also microns. You'll see I used white ink here to provide additional texture. This is going deep into the dungeon. This one here is of a jelly ochre, one of the enemies. Here, this is Stormy again, using his power, the power of Poseidon, to smite enemies. I got this idea from the Thor Ragnarok. There's a scene of him at the end when he got his new power and he like blasted all the enemies away. So I got that image from there. This is of all the different instruments our characters use to play for during their camping sessions. It's a treasure chest. This is one of our characters, Ken, getting stuck in a hidden bear trap. I didn't do the inking on this yet. I got some new Polychromos colored pencils. So I think I'm gonna use microns just to ink it and then color it with a pencil to see how it looks like. There's the broken bear trap. Here's another trap in the dungeon, like an arrow trap. You know, try to go next to the wall or shoot arrows at you. There's a bunch of skeletons trapped in torture racks. There's a specific name for that. It's one of our characters, Ken. He's a paladin using his magical spells. I think he has clerical spells. And this is another trap. You notice this dungeon has a lot of traps in here. There's another trap, like a floor trap. If you step on the panel, it'll release an electric shock on the characters. That's for the regular pen and ink drawings. And here's my newer sketchbook. It's a little bit bigger. Used for watercolors. There's Ken the Paladin again. He's a high elf, by the way. And here's the deep tunnel that the characters rappel down when they're using their rock, paper, scissors to see who would go down into it. No light would penetrate the darkness, so they were scared to get in. Here's like an illusion room. This is Roshana, and she's pouring like a healing potion, but the character outside could see that she wasn't actually like healing anybody. It's a pair of zombies in the dungeon. The last one is the witch's pantry. It's a witch's dungeon, by the way. The last one is a pantry, but for the witch. But I designed it more closely to like a Hobbit pantry. You know, like you see it like Bilbo's pantry in The Hobbit, to make it more, more inviting. Because the characters, they found a pantry in the dungeon, and they stocked up on ale and meats and other types of dried food. Now I also want to show you my part of my writing as well, since that's a big part of my my sessions. And basically, as I mentioned in the description of my my D&D sessions, it was a game I played through most of last year. The campaign is finished now, and I've been doing narrated illustrated sessions in rhyme. And let me show you a little bit of the process I use. So they're based on some of my notes and memory from the sessions. I use a process called, it's a Japanese name called Kisho Tenketsu. What it is basically is a 4-act structure, but it's not like a normal like a 3-act or 4-act structure they use in like normal screenplay or novel writing. You can use this for like even like smaller things. Like I use it for like each stanza of the of my writing process, and from there I go on to converting it into to rhymes. So let me show you. Let me scroll down for the session 4, I believe. I have about 17 stanzas. So stanza 6 is where I just got the Kisho Tenketsu part. So what it is basically is 4 acts again, and then the first part, and I use it for each stanza. So the first line would just be like a general description of the event, and the second line would be like more going more in depth for that specific event. Now the third line would be like something that could not be related to the first two, and this would be great for like getting more of like atmosphere into whatever you're writing, because it could be like something like just talking about like the rain or something, for example. Now the fourth line would also expand upon the third line, but also ties into the first two, so that way it kind of wraps it up. So I'll do about 15 or so, whatever I need to describe the whole event of that session, and then I go back and then I convert it into rhymes, and I use the I think this is the name, I don't have the notes on me, but anapestic tetrameter, I think it's called. And that's basically like they're like 4 sections for each verse, and there's like a rhyming pattern that the first two, if you see like here it says, Stormy sat with his mace on a dead ogre's corpse. I don't follow it exactly, but the way it works is you have like 3 syllables for each section, so there's like 4 sections in a verse. So the first 2 syllables will be unstressed, and the last syllable will be stressed in each section. So Stormy sat is the most stressed. With his mace is the most stressed part of that section. On the dead, so dead is the most stressed. Ogre's corpse, and corpse is the most stressed on that section. And do that same thing for all 4 lines. And normally the first 2, at the end, the line of the first 2 verses, they would rhyme, and then the third and fourth, they would also rhyme. And I don't do it exactly like specific, like a exact rhyme all the time, but corpse, forks, and semi-rhyme. Alive or arrive is like a perfect rhyme. And then, in addition, what I do is kind of have like other techniques to make the the stanza flow more. Like there would be like internal rhymes like in the same line. Like for example, like something called assonance is if you have like a bunch of words that rhyme within that same verse. And then there's also alliteration, where each letter, or the first letter, is like Peter Piper picked a pickled pepper. You know, you would do that. So I would do some of those little tricks on each stanza to make to make them like a more rhythm throughout the whole stanza. Read it to myself to make sure that it sounds good. But that's the most important part. I forget to mention that reading the lines out loud, not just in your head, is what makes the rhymes and poetry in general sound, to make sure they sound good. Because it could sound good in your head, but until you actually hear it out loud, then you can say, okay, that's kind of like weird. It doesn't like flow smoothly from there. But that's the basic process that I use for doing the rhyme. So right now, I'm up to the 5th stanza. Yeah, you'll notice I put like brackets there between each section, so I can see, like, for each little portion of the verse, if they're like rhyming properly, or just they have a good rhythm. So I break it down like that before I actually post the actual like full text to the video. But that's it. All right, so hopefully I'll get the session 4 up soon. But just a little insight into what I do. All right, everybody. Until next time. Bye.